Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. 8 years ago. Wasn't it brilliant? I mean, I'm a Chelsea fan. Chelsea Football Club, it's the love of my life. If you haven't seen the last video, we did a story of the season so far, and watching that back almost brought tears to my eyes because I was reminiscing moments that weren't actually that long ago, but they were so special. There's a giant wasp who's just entered the vicinity. I hope he piddles off where he came from, away from me. It was a special day, and I wanted to remember it, at least for the start of this video today, because the title's obviously suggesting we're going to be talking about something ever so slightly less positive today. But I remember waking up on the day of the 19th of May 2012, and I don't think I've ever been so nervous to something that was not in my control. You know, like, there's nerves that you experience when you go for job interviews. There's nerves that you experience before you go to a school exam or your first day at a new job or something. And these are nerves that involve something that you can actually do something about. Whether, you know, me on my nan's couch watching Chelsea in a Champions League final, the nerves were because I realised how big it is to follow a football club, what it means to be part of something bigger than what we are as individuals. And it was that day of the final, I remember the nerves for Chelsea Football Club and for me as a Chelsea fan, and for feeling it for the rest of the Chelsea fans in the world. I don't think there's ever been a moment in my life where I've been that nervous. I woke up throughout the whole day. I don't remember what I was doing at the time, to be quite honest. I have a funny feeling I might have been in school doing my A-levels. So tense. And I would go as far as to say for the first 18 hours of the 19th of May 2012 were some of the worst hours that I've experienced because I was just too nervous. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what to do. I looked at the fact that it was Bayern Munich. I looked at their team. I looked at the fact it was in flipping Munich, and I didn't think we were going to win. Thomas Muller scores that goal. Let's just fast forward a little bit and carry on telling the story. Muller scores the goal. I'm already crying. I'm already in tears, flooding down my face. I'm like, what's the take that song? When we come so far. That song, that's what I think about. I just think about that song. I don't know why I ever did that, to be honest. I've just embarrassed myself in front of thousands of people. Brilliant. When Thomas Muller scored that goal, I thought it was all over. Then Juan Mata, that majestic left foot of his, the man can take a corner, he can take a free kick. He was beautiful. Even though he went to Manchester United, Juan Mata, one of the nicest guys in football, crosses it into the box. That header from Didier Drogba is the best header I've ever seen to this very day. Didier Drogba equalises. You can see the emotion and passion in his face. He knows that he has just given us yet another lifeline. The man for the big occasion, the man who always scores in finals, 9 goals in 10 finals. It's absolutely ridiculous that some people can even sit there and say that Didier Drogba wasn't a great striker in Premier League's era, in Premier League history. Didier Drogba was the man for the big occasion. Fast forward through extra time, there were some wonderful moments in there as well, such as a Petr Cech penalty save. We win it on penalties, and then I don't think I spoke to anybody for 2 hours. I genuinely feel as though I had no idea what to do. I was just crying. I went for a run. I ran down to my friend Jack's house, who literally lived like 2 streets away from me, just dancing like a hooligan in the street. It wasn't the craziest, because obviously back in the day then, I was like, what, 8 years ago, I'd have been 17 years old, and I wasn't in the flipping pub, I wasn't in Munich, which I wish I was, but honestly, I can't begin to explain the next day at school. It was the best. It was the absolute best. I think I wore a Chelsea shirt into school as well, which didn't go down too well, but then I ended up getting changed because, you know, you get yourself into trouble and then the fun's gone and then it's back to normal. But so we're going to move on from this Champions League anniversary little start to this video that we've had today, and we're going to address a topic that I've been thinking as to whether or not I wanted to address this in a video throughout the whole of Sunday evening, because it was in Bali. I'm like 7 hours behind, or no, I'm 7 hours ahead or 6 hours ahead of you guys back in the UK. I was reading it on Sunday. I looked at the progressions yesterday on Monday, and it's now Tuesday afternoon / early evening, and I've still been like, I don't know if I want to post this video, because I'm one of those people who, when it comes to dealing with a problem in the world, and this is just like nothing to do with football or making videos or anything, I like to address things based off of objective facts. I like there to be things that we know happened that are 100% true, and then after that, I like to then formulate my thoughts, my opinions, or what I want to do as a result of knowing those facts to be able to progress on with my life. When things like this come out, Callum Hudson-Odoi, there's been some allegations made against Callum Hudson-Odoi. Some people are immediately jumping onto a bandwagon of either full defense as to Callum Hudson-Odoi couldn't have have done that. He's only 19 years old. He comes across in the media as this very soft family man who surely couldn't do something wrong like that. Some people, also, particularly rival fans, just love to just jump on this bandwagon of Callum Hudson-Odoi, you know, that money-grabbing teenager who's not really done enough to get 100k plus per week at Chelsea. Look what he's gone and done. What a naughty boy. Now, the issues with this are plentiful, and there are examples of people's mental health being affected as a result of media scrutiny, media speculation, social media speculation. There are stories of people's mental health being impacted by things like this all of the time, which is why I have not wanted to go onto any side, because maybe these allegations are true. Maybe they are not true. And what we're seeing from the media, and this is the whole reason why I'm making this video, because I want to address this from a point of reason where hopefully, if you guys were thinking about it on like a bandwagon perspective before we know all the facts, maybe when you hear what I'm about to say, we can all take a step back and just let the story play out, and whatever is true in the end is true. And then we can deal with it from a footballing side of things or a personal side of things later. Callum Hudson-Odoi shouldn't be inviting anybody over to his flat in West London in the evenings at this current moment in time during a lockdown and coronavirus crisis. We have seen that Kyle Walker, Jack Grealish, to name a couple. These players have been publicly shamed, I guess you could say, within the footballing world for their actions during this pandemic, during this time of global crisis, where footballers, we all know, they are people that the public look up to. They are role models for young people. They are people that are always going to have their names portrayed into the media because these are people that people care about, you know? It's like, it's not that they're more important than others, but in terms of selling stories, people want to know if Jack Grealish is out on a bender. They don't really care if you or I are going out on the piss and crashing into the side of other people's cars. Let's be real, it's not really front page headline. However, this thing with Callum Hudson-Odoi, despite the obvious wrongdoings that Callum has done by having someone over to his flats at God knows what time in the morning, the fact that these newspapers are reporting things such as this, and I mean, this one comes from The Sun. Hudson-Odoi, who had coronavirus. Now what we're looking at here is Hudson-Odoi. That's something that gets attention. Coronavirus, that's another thing to pique the attention of the reader, but it's actually irrelevant. Is said to have asked her to visit him wearing lingerie. I mean, is this relevant? Is it really relevant that Callum Hudson-Odoi has asked a girl to come over his house wearing lingerie? And I think at this moment in time, considering we don't know any facts other than the fact that the police and ambulance were called to his apartment at 3:53 in the morning, do we know that Callum Hudson-Odoi was asking her to wear lingerie? And even if he did, like, that isn't really the problem. The problem is that someone's gone round to his house when they shouldn't have done. And as a footballer, football's going to be coming back soon, and you don't want to be mingling, is the word I'm going to use, with people who you're not going to be in close contact with when the football is returning. It's a case of like, Callum, why have you done this? But these newspaper articles are blowing this so far out of proportion. It is believed the 19-year-old made contact with the woman on social media on Saturday before inviting her to his penthouse. Again, social media, the readers who aren't necessarily involved with social media, this is going to spark something within them as well, where they're going to be thinking, oh, he's just a young kid and social media, he's using this fame to his advantage, inviting some girl over to his gaff in the middle of the night. Chelsea winger Hudson-Odoi and the model are said to have exchanged flirty messages that hinted at having fun together. I mean, all of this is designed and written to get our attention so that people like me make videos on it. I know that side of the argument as well. But what this does is it dilutes the opinions of those who are reading it so that we are going against Callum Hudson-Odoi for potentially more than we should be. Yes, it's one thing disrespecting the rules of the government and this whole lockdown and not really putting the club first with his actions at this moment in time. That's one thing, but considering the allegations at hand as well, using all of this like flirtatious imagery such as like lingerie and all of these things that don't really add to the story, they're going to be fueling a negative opinion of Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now what does this do if we bring it into a whole mental health conversation? Let's just say that Callum Hudson-Odoi is innocent. I don't know that he's innocent, but let's say that he is for the benefit of what I'm about to say. Callum Hudson-Odoi being accused of what he's been accused of is something very, very serious for a 19-year-old who's already been through a bit of a shit show with his injury from such an early age, age with so much potential. Yes, when he was demanding his new Chelsea contract and he wants over 100 grand a week. A lot of people thought that this was a sign of arrogance from Callum Hudson-Odoi. A lot of people also thought that it's a sign of hunger. It's something that shows that he knows that he can be one of the best players, and he's pushing for this contract because he wants to be a Chelsea player. He signs a 5-year deal. Chelsea fans are excited about it. But now that this story has come out, it asks a lot of questions for me about whether or not Callum's attitude is right for what is expected of him right now from such a big football club such as Chelsea FC. I don't want to focus on discussing whether or not these allegations are true or false, because I don't know the answers to that, and I'm not going to throw opinions out there on that because it's irrelevant. We don't know the answers, and when we do know the answers, that will be when we can pass judgments. But one way or another, I still see Callum Hudson-Odoi as a young man who has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, whether that is, of course, when you're a footballer, you choose to be a footballer. He could just retire now and go and study and do another job. Hudson-Odoi is a footballer. With being a footballer, there is responsibilities. There are things that you do and things that you don't do. But at the same time, when it comes to these kind of reports coming out and the words that are used, which influence the people that read them to then pass judgments on a man, do not take these newspaper articles that you are reading with anything other right now than a pinch of salt. So many of these newspapers are desperate for footballing headlines right now, so they will say anything in order to get you to buy the newspaper or to get you to read the article with the advert on the side. I know there's irony in this because I'm making a video to address it to you guys as well, but I'm trying to come from a position of rationality, which is basically dealing with facts, dealing with things that we know, and waiting to pass judgments until we do know what did and didn't happen. For the sake of Callum Hudson-Odoi's career as a Chelsea player and also an England player, I just hope that this mistake of inviting someone over to his house during a lockdown in the coronavirus crisis when he was the first player to be tested positive, it's not the smartest of moves. And I think that at 19 years old, it's time, whether this is true or false, for Callum to really take the reins of what having what he has means. It's time that he focuses. It's time he knuckles down, makes the right decisions, and, you know, maybe the man needs some better advisors close by him, because regardless of whether the big allegations are true or false, he's still done something that puts the club in a bad light. Having someone go over his house and the police and ambulance is called is not something that paints Chelsea Football Club in a good light or Callum Hudson-Odoi in a good light. So that's what I want to focus on. He's done wrong, but let's reserve judgment on the allegations. So whatever you read, take it with a pinch of salt. Didn't really know if I wanted to make this video, to be honest, because I didn't know if the message that I was trying to convey would come across. We've addressed a few stories today. The Hudson-Odoi one, I know it's been the main talking point of this video, but yeah, happy 19th of May, Chelsea fans. Enjoy the memories. I'm probably going to watch the game back myself tonight when I go to bed in the AC. It's flipping sweaty Gonzalez out here, so I'm going to bounce. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.